Hello guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel once again, and in this tutorial we'll be modeling a simple 3D character. So the first thing we do before modeling our character, I'm going to move my mouse to this point here where I have this cross sign. Until it shows up, I'm going to left click on that and drag another windows. So now I have two windows here. So I'm going to say on this side, I'm going to say 1 on my notepad keyboard for my front view. On this side, I'm going to say 3 on my notepad keyboard for my right view. So I'm going to select this cube and say delete on my keyboard. And now I want to bring in an image reference. So I will say Shift A to bring in an image reference. I'll go to image and select reference. So it takes me to my desktop. I save my image reference in my documents. I'm going to select document, and I'm going to come to Blender tutorials, go to light, and this is my image reference. I'll select it and say load image reference. So now I have my front image reference here. I'm going to select this and say Shift D to duplicate, and right click to release, and I'll say arrow Z 90 to rotate in the Z axis at an angle of 90. So now I have my right image reference here and my front image reference here. So what I want to do is that I don't want this guy facing this way. I want him to face this other way. So I'm going to flip this. I'm going to right click on this image reference here and say mirror and say Y global to flip that. So what I'm going to do next now is that I want to make this guy at the center of this grid. So I'm going to select this now and move this to this point, and come to your object data property and click on opacity and say G and X. Make it be at the center, G and X. Yeah, this is correct. You need to select this and move this to this point here. Say G and X, G and Y. Move this to this point, and this is okay now. So I'll do it very simple now. So I'll just come to my filter and activate filter, turn on selectables, and deactivate this reference image here. So now I'm going to say Shift A to bring in a mesh. I'll bring in a plane. My plane is lying down. I'll rotate the plane, arrow X 90, and I'll say S to scale. Move it forward here. I'm going to bring it forward here, and I'm going to say S to scale again, and say tap for edit mode, control arrow to add one loop cut, 3 for face selection. Select this face, click delete, delete face, and now I can say come to my modify properties and add what we call a mirror modifier. Add that, flip this, and cage this also. So 1 for vector selection or Z. Move this and select or move upwards to this point. Select this also. So I like starting from this side of the nose. What I'm going to do now is very simple. I'll say A to select all. I'm going to move this to this point and say arrow to rotate. Watch, I'm not seeing my reference, so I'm going to come here and activate this, select this. I'm going to move it this other way. Now I can now come here and select that now. See, 1 for vector selection. Okay, yeah. I'm going to move this to this point. So there are different ways. I can start from here, but I want to start from this side. I'm going to move this to this point like this. I'm going to select this middle, and I'm going to move. I'm not going to move the middle. We'll leave it that way also. And I'm going to select this and say 2 for edge selection and say E to extrude. 2 for edge selection. Select this edge, move it this way. Say E to extrude. E to extrude, and it's okay like this. Move this to 1 for vector selection, 2 for edge selection. You select this and say E to extrude, right click to release and extrude straight. I'm going to come here and move this backwards. Say E to extrude again. Move this point. The Alt Z. That's good. So say 2. Select this also. Select this and say E to extrude again. Move it to this point. Hold Alt, select this. Let's push this forward. This point. Now let's move this forward. So 2 for edge selection. E to extrude this. The arrow to rotate. Arrow to rotate. E to extrude. Arrow to rotate that. Rotate it this way. Again and again. Say E to extrude. Arrow to rotate. Move this point. Say E to extrude again. Arrow to rotate. So we're going to move this point like this. Say arrow to rotate. Arrow to rotate that roughly, and arrow to rotate this. So E to extrude this point and say arrow to rotate. Make this straight. Move this like this. So E to extrude again. Arrow to rotate. Move this guy forward. Yeah. 2 again and say E to extrude. Arrow to rotate. Arrow to rotate. Rotate this like this and say E to extrude again. Arrow to rotate a little bit and arrow to rotate. 1 for vector selection. Adjust our vectors and yes, to scale a little bit. E to extrude. Arrow to rotate. Move it this way. Move it that way. But now we have a big challenge here. Say 3 for face selection. You select this face and say delete. So I want this to come to this point, this to say M to red, say M at center. Bring that to that point and say Control R to add one loop cut here. But adding one loop cut here will be a problem, so let's do Control Z. We don't want much problems, so I want to keep it very simple and low poly. Now this is OK or Z, and say 2 for edge selection, E to extrude, seal that up, 1 for vector selection, select this and say M to red at last, and move this forward. Do Control R to add one loop cut here. Consider this and this also. Move this inwards. Move that inwards also. Push this forward. Push this forward like this. Like this also. What we're going to do now is very simple. You say 2 for edge selection. Select this. You say E to extrude. Say 1 for vector selection or Z. Move this to this point. Move this to this point. 2. So select this and S to scale and R to rotate. E to extrude, R to rotate, S to scale, so E to extrude again, so select this and move this backwards, R to rotate, to this point, say R to rotate, say R to rotate. Consider this place and say E, say R, so we want this mark here. So select this and rotate this. Like this, and say E to extrude. Move this backward. Say E to extrude again. R to rotate. E to extrude. R to rotate. Move this forward. Say E to extrude. Last time. Move this and say R to rotate. To ensure you follow the topology, which is nice, and now what we do now is very simple. Now so 1 for vector selection. You can bring this guy to this point here at Z. add one more loop cut here. Of course, let's weld this, say at last, and say Ctrl R, add just one loop cut here. Do Ctrl R to add one loop cut here. Say LC. Just want to ensure to keep this very simple and follow our character reference as much as possible. So I'm going to move this to this point here, and I'm going to select this, move this to this point. Move this closer. Closer and closer. So I can decide to push this backwards. Leave it that way first, and select this and select this and say M to red at center. Take that up. So move this to this point. We will leave this loop here. It's very important for us. We'll leave it that way. Leave it that way, and so now let's see how it goes now. And move this downwards. Take this downwards a little bit. Okay. Now hold Alt and select all this and say 2 for right selection. Say E to extrude. Right click to release, S to scale. Move to this point, following our reference. Move it to this point and say 1 for vector selection. I'll select one after the other. Move and move this. Move this also. Left with this. Bring this down to Z. So I have something looking like this, which is nice. I'll come here and select all this also. Push to this point. So I'll move the same process. Select these two. Move it to this point. Select these two. Keep backwards. Select these two. Move it backwards. Select these two and move that backwards also. This is okay. So I can move this forward. Take that backwards. Bring this down a little bit. So I have my character face coming out well now, and there's lots to do here. I say 2 for head selection. Select this and say E to extrude. Right click to release and come to the scale tool and make this very straight. I can move this to this point. Move this backwards. I also move it to this point also. But I don't want to Move and say 1, vector selection. Move this also to these points like this. I want to keep a very low topology here. I don't want too many vectors. I will say 1 for vector selection. Move this forward 2. I will say E to extrude. S to scale. Over to these points and say R to rotate. In here, I'll come here and make some few adjustments. So for Z, you can see I have some problems here, so I'm going to take this guy up to this point. So I want this guy to be here and say N to where that last. It's 2 for X selection, but first move this to this point here and say 2 for X selection. Say rotate and say E to extrude this point and say arrow to rotate. So I can bring this to this point also, forehead, and set this, bring this down. The idea is to keep it very, very low topology. Move this guy to this point. Select this and say M, and where that last. 2 for edge selection. I want to say E to extrude, arrow to rotate. Move this to this point. 2 for edge selection. Select this and say E to extrude. Now I can push this to this point, laying my reference. 1 for vector selection. For Z, 2 for edge selection. Select this edge and move to this point. Say E to extrude. Arrow to rotate a little bit. And E to extrude again. I have one curve here. Move this like this. 1 for vector selection. Move this and say E to extrude again. Move it to this point here, and that's okay. So move this forward like this and say 1 for vector selection. Select vectors, bring backwards a little bit. So try to arrange your vectors very well before you do another extrusion. And I will say E to extrude this point, arrow to rotate, bring it downwards. Move this to this point here and say E to extrude for the last time. Move it forward. Bring this downwards also. So now you can now start merging these vectors together. So Alt Z. You can start from bottom. 1 for vector selection. Select this and say M where that last. M where that last. Where that last. M where that last. 3 again. So we can move this now and see where we can move this to Alt Z. Select this and select this and say let's say where that center. That's okay for us. Now we have something to deal with here. So what I'm going to do is very simple now. So I'm going to push these points. So I'm going to say trip of face selection. Select this face and click delete. I'll say 2. I'm going to say E to extrude. This point, say arrow to rotate. Move this to this point now and say E again to extrude. S to scale. Move to this point. Say 1 for vector selection. I can select this and say N. Say at center. Select this N at center. N at center. And center. We'll work on something here now, and so say control arrow to add this loop here. Select this and say M at center. So we've solved this problem now, and say 3 for face selection. So we can see our loop here, see our nose loop, see our face loop, our eye loop, our mouth loop. Now we can create extrusion for the nose. 3 for face selection or Z. Let's select this from here, select this, and this. Let's say E to extrude, right click to release, and let's move uniformly and say 1 for vector selection. Let's say S to scale. No, let's move this like this point. It's okay. So we need to start shaping this now. So I'm selecting the first one, Z. So we can move this a little bit upward. So come here also and make that changes. I'm going to select this and just move them backwards following our character reference. Move this points. Move this point now and take this backwards a little bit. Bring this forward. So ensure to follow your character reference at every time you Z. Move this point. Move this point. I'm going to move this like this. We are going to have a very nice shape now for our character reference. Now we can add 1 loop cut here. Bring this upwards a little bit. So on C. Now I'm going to add 1 loop here now and say control arrow to add 1 loop first. Let's see how it goes for Z. Select this 3 and let's move this guy forward. This place and select this 3 and move this forward a little bit. Let's spread those vertices and move them forward a little bit, so we don't have any sharp edges in our character's mouth or face. that's okay for now. And also come here and say G twice. Move this. G twice and a little bit. You know, there is a very sharp mark like this point, and trying to keep that sharp mark also. So I don't want to lose that mark. I'm gonna move this now. G twice this point, so I can have that sharp edge. I'm going to move this forward and say G twice to push. Say G twice to push this. So I can move this forward now. Say G twice. Move, and I can scale this on the Z axis. Say G twice, move, and say G to push this point. Also scale this Z axis. So G twice, move to this point, G twice to this point. I'm going to move this now like this, and it's okay now for us. So G twice to move this guy upwards. G twice. I'm going to take this far. So leave it like this, and this is okay. Alright, now shape this other side of the character. Take Ctrl arrow and add one loop cut there. That will be necessary for us. Let's push this forward a little bit. So Z, say tab, and let's see if we can make any further adjustments. You can say O proportional editing and select this, and let's so scroll your mouse down to move this, and so you can increase the strength of proportional editing and adjust some of these vertices also. Say turn it off by clicking O again to turn that off. Turn it on again, O or Z. Select this and move this way. Let's see. To ensure your vertices and your topology are in good shape, turn it off. O to turn your proportional editing off, and let's see what we got here. This kind of curve shape there also. Okay, now we can make some extrusion for the mouse. Let's check the nose area back again and make some adjustments here. In this place look kind of rough. So where is this point? Okay, so this for this now, and let's see how it looks like. We can add one loop cut here, Ctrl arrow, add one loop cut here, and so Ctrl Z. Select this loop here and select all these vertices here, and we can push to just give a little bit of thickness there, adjust this also. You can select this tool and just push this inwards also. So what we'll do next is very simple. We can add one loop cut here. Our character knows just one loop cut here. So now we're going to adjust again. Z. No, go to Z now. So leave it that way and select this loop and say G twice to move this loop to Z. Move this loop downwards and say G twice to move. G twice to move. Let's do it straight. So G twice to move. You can spread this loop now and see. So select this and say G twice to move. Spread that loop. So G twice by keyword. Spread that and G twice. What I'm spreading them is that I don't want us to have sharp edges. G twice. So we have to spread our vertices so we don't have sharp edges. So G twice to move that. Let's move to this point. So now let's say Alt Z again, back again, and let's say O for proportional editing. Okay, expand this node. So I'm going to reduce it by scrolling my mouse downwards, and now I'm going to adjust this. Okay, adjust the character nodes, turn off proportional editing, and move this that way, and let's see how it looks like. So select these three. I'm going to move them backwards, just giving us this loop in our nose. I'm going to select this also, and I'm going to bring this upwards. This region, just give us that kind of nice shape. So I would love to add one loop cut here, but we don't know how it looks like. Let's bring that loop cut and see if it's necessary. Let's see if it's necessary. Don't think we need that loop cut now, but let's see if we can move some vertices, and we might need that loop cut. Ctrl Z back, we don't need it for now. This is okay like this now, and would love to make the nose come like this, have this kind of swollen place here, but I don't think we need that for now. Maybe as we proceed, we might just add one loop cut here to just beautify the character face. So now just try to adjust some vertices, and we'll say 3 for face selection. So I want to create a cavity under our nose. So let's select this and this and this and this. This for our character nose, and let's see how it looks here. And so 1 for vector selection. And this look more like this also. Okay, this is alright now. Now select and say E to extrude, right click to release and say S to scale a little bit and say E to extrude, right click to release and move upwards Alt Z and say E to extrude again. Right click to release, move upwards. So we can easily rotate that, make it straight. Say Alt Z. So but if you watch now, our character nose is coming out from this point. So we can do Ctrl Z back, and let's just say E to extrude like this, and say S to scale. Now we can now move it to this point here. Let's check here also. Let's see. Say E to extrude. Move it upwards. We can right click and come to our loop tool and say flatten. And now we can say E to extrude. Right click to release and move upwards. Now let's see it now. It's not coming out from our characters from this region. See Alt Z and see where it stops. So one for vector selection, you can adjust this inwards. Now we can select this also, select this and move this like this. Just give our character kind of popped out here. It is okay now. So Alt Z. I can say O for proportional editing. I can select all this region here and just push this inwards. It's okay for now. Now we can work on the mouth again. So we want to move this to this point, so we can work on our character mouth very well. And in our proportional editing, I'm going to increase proportional editing, increase it this point. So select this and move forward a little bit. Select all these vertices. I don't want the mouth to go inside that much, so that's why I'm pushing these vertices forward. You can turn it off now by clicking O on our keyboard, and let's move them in such a way that they want to look nice, and move them forward a little bit. Select this and select this, and move forward. So we're done with that now. Select this also. Try to move some vertices. And move some vertices also. Move this forward, this inwards. Okay, I'm good to go now, and come to my right view and move this guy forward. So check character's forehead. Select this and say G twice to move upwards like this. I'm going to move this backwards. Press forward and push that inwards a little bit. Kind of like a cut. Yeah. tap for edit mode, and so just ensure you check and follow your reference. G twice, move, come here and say Alt Z. What we want to do next, we create the eyelid, but before we create the eyebrow, let's extrude the region of our character mouth. Z, and let's bring this backwards. Also add one loop cut here, and then we can come and scale this, and let's see how it looks like. And let's move this downwards to this point, like this. I'm going to select this loop here, hold shift, and then come to my scale tool and scale this on the y-axis to have that edge, that sharp edge. Do the same here and scale this on the y-axis. Say Alt Z. One for vector selection. Right, and now with G twice, just spread those vectors. Okay, now I can select this also and come here and scale on the y-axis to make that straight also. So what we do next now is to create the eyebrow and extrusion for the mouth. Let's focus on the mouth first. So 2 for edge selection, hold Alt, selection of this edge to select all in that loop, and we say E to extrude, right click to release, come here to our scale tool and scale on the Z axis a little bit, and front view scale on the Y axis just a little bit, and say Alt Z. To say 1 for vector selection, select this vector 6, and let's move this forward like this. Say 2 again for edge selection, hold Alt, select all this edge, try to rotate your screen to go inside the character's mouth, and say E to extrude, right click to release, and let's do Ctrl Z back, and let's say E to extrude uniformly. This is okay, we've extruded that, and now we're going to scale this like this on the Z axis. Instead of we doing this, it's very wrong, so let's do Ctrl Z back, and so this was our first extrusion. Hold Alt, select that back, and we extrude inwards again, and say E to extrude, right click to release, and let's see the outcome. This is okay, and let's say E to extrude again, right click to release, and let's push to this point. So we're going to close our character's mouth a little bit. Alt Z, so 1 for vector selection. You can select all of these and say scale on the Z axis and move upwards to this point. And just leave small space there so we can model the teeth later on. So select all these and say it, and let's scale on the Z axis. So our character mouth is quite big, considering that I'm going to scale it also like this to this point. That point, and scale it inwards again. say one for vector selection. Now we can just move these vectors around. Select this and move this upwards. To 2 for edge selection. Let's move this forward a little. Hold Alt, select all this loop here, and say E to extrude. Right click to release. Let's move it again and push sideways, or we can say scale the Z axis and also scale the Y axis a little bit, and let's move this to this point. And say 1 for vector selection. Select this and move upwards. You can hold shift and select all this Z, and let's move this downwards also. So our character has a very big mouth, and we're considering that also. We can move this to this point. Okay, now so we'll stop at this point in our character's mouth first. Once we are done with the back of the head, then we'll continue extrusion in the mouth also. Now let's come to our right view, and now let's make our eyebrow. So Alt Z, 3 for face selection. So we're going to select this face where our eyebrow lies. But there are different ways of doing that. I want to make it very simple. So let's say 1 first. Let's arrange this side and say Ctrl arrow to add one loop cut here. And, select this and let's scale this also. Make it straight. And so now what we'll do next is to move this inwards also, and adjust this eye region. Select these two and say G twice to move that loop. Say G to move this, select this, and say G to move this also. Say G to move this. So we're going to select this and say G to move this to this point. We can select this also and come to our scale tool, and let's scale this. It will be very straight. Just be very straight like this. This is okay now. Eye. See. Just ensure to shape following the reference image. I can select all these vectors here, so I'm going to move them inwards a little bit. Select this and move this inwards a little bit. So Alt C, move this inwards, move that inwards also. Select this and move this inwards, move that inwards. So I'm going to move this inward. Now we'll say 3 for face selection. Say Alt Z again, and let's see our reference. But what we're going to do next, we'll say 2 for edge selection. Select this edge and say Shift D to duplicate. Right click to release. Click P on your keyboard to separate. Select selection, and when we say tab, now we have this edge separated from the plane. So we'll select it and say tab for edit mode. Say 1 for vector selection, and say A to select all. And let's move it to this point here, and let's say arrow to rotate, following our character's reference. So we want to create the eyebrow. Move it to this point. It's okay. Now we'll come to this point here and move this forward. So let's turn on what we call overlays. Okay, is here, and turn this on and turn, go to geometry, turn on wireframe. Do the same here also. Come here and turn this on and say wireframe. And now, so I want that this edge to rest on this character face. Yeah, like that. That's good now, and I'll say 3 for my right view. So what I want to do next, I'll say 2 for edge selection. Let's move this to the center now, and I want us to use a technique. Use the snap tool to extrude. So we're going to move to this point here and come to where we have snap. Click on, okay, this is not snap, okay, this is it. This is it. Click on this arrow downwards, then select face project and select project individual elements, and say snap width. We don't want center, we want closest. So activate rotate and scale. So when I'll do Alt Z now, and I'll say E to extrude to this point. I'll say 1 for vector selection. Move this upwards a little bit. Say 2 for edge selection. Select this edge and say E to extrude again to this point. Oh, but first let's do Ctrl Z back. Alt Z, Ctrl Z. Forgot to do something before we extrude. Now, if we have activate this, we have to come to this place and activate our snap tool. So we have to turn that on, and let's say Alt Z back again and say E to extrude, and say E to extrude again. So 1 for vector selection, say Alt Z, select these vertices, let's follow our reference, follow our reference, follow our reference. So 2 for edge selection, select that edge, and let's say E to extrude to this point, arrow to rotate, 1 for vector selection, select this, and let's just follow our character reference eyebrow. 2, select this edge again and say E to extrude to this point, say S to scale, and say arrow to rotate that, and say E to extrude again to this point, say S to scale, and arrow to rotate, let's scale that very tiny. Let's watch our reference and let's say E to extrude again, and S to scale just a little. Let's scale it wide, not small. Say Alt Z. Now if you watch now, it has snapped from this point to this point to this point here also. So we have almost the same thing here. Let's scale this, move this forward. Now you can make that adjustment here also. Bring this down, select this, bring this down, select this, bring this down. Let's do Alt Z. So we have a problem here. I think this is the right one because it has to snap from this region down to this region. Now let's do Alt Z. So we are using this side, not this other side. Okay, now let's say 1 for vector selection. So Alt Z now. So what we'll do next is to add what we call solidify modifier. So we can say tab and either use E to extrude, but there's going to be a clash. So we're going to do Ctrl Z back. We can extrude that. So we say 3 for face selection. Okay. So 3 for face selection, and let's turn off our snap tool. And let's say A to select all. So we can come to our orientation and say normal, and now we can say E to extrude like this. And if you watch, I don't think it's looking right. Let's come to our point here and say Alt Z. I don't think it's looking right for us. Let's say slash and hide and see what it looks like. I can say slash again and say 2 for edge selection. You can either select this and come back to. So let's do Ctrl Z back and see other kinds of extrusion. You can leave this at local, and now let's extrude with local and say E to extrude. Let's right click to release that and let's move. So we're still having problems with that. So there are different ways of doing that. You can say, so we can select that, or we can just leave it and come to our modifiers properties and say add modifier and add solidify modifier, and we can increase the thickness from this region also. So but we're still having the same result. So there are two ways of doing it. You can either extrude from global or extrude by default, or you use the solidify modifier, which is not that bad also. So if you solidify modifier, we'll also activate that now. But let's see how it looks like. I think this is good. We can now come to this point now and say tab, so we can apply it. Come to where we have, click on that arrow and say apply. We can say tab for edit mode now. So we have our character eyebrow here. But for me, I'm thinking it's looking so big. I'm thinking it's looking so big, and you can leave it like this way first and say tap for edit mode and say Ctrl R to add one loop cut here and say A to select all. We can push it inwards also. Say tap for object mode and 3 for right view. So this is our character face. So we've come to the end of level 1, and in level 2 we're going to model the body and every part of our character. So thanks for watching. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave some comments and ask questions.